how you dimmed your light. Now, within each one of us, we all have a light. We're light beings. And our job is to shine our light. So if we have to do the work to be able to shine our light, well, how did that light get dimmed in the first place? And so that's what we're going to talk about here. And in order to understand this, first of all, let's look at the human being. And we have our sympathetic nervous system and our parasympathetic nervous system. And our sympathetic nervous system is also called fight or flight. So that's our fear response. And so every time that something happens, and it can be any kind of emotional state, we have emotional states that are activated, and they become almost like a new personality. So we have some kind of a trauma, and then we have some kind of reaction to that trauma, and we become a different person in that moment. And so we have some kind of trauma that comes in, and think of that trauma like an arrow. And so for each different trauma, it's a different part of the body. So it's an arrow that comes in and it hits you. So this arrow comes in and hits you. And so in order to protect yourself, you create a little piece of armor. All right. So that piece of armor protects. And so anytime that kind of a trauma comes up to you, you activate that armor so that you protect your inner being, your inner light. So somebody tried to hurt the inner being, you protected it and created this piece of armor to protect that spot. And so for each spot, we create a piece of armor. And so imagine that there's a flame, and then I take my hands and put it over top of that flame, and each time that we create a new piece of armor, we start to smother over that flame. And so our personality, we have all these different fragmented personalities and these different faces that we put on. And, we bite our tongue and we don't speak our truth. We, hide the truth of who we are. We don't talk about the stuff that we're passionate about because somebody else might be offended to it. And every time that we decline on ourselves and we put ourselves back and we cut back, we protect ourselves. Because you might say something and then that'll somehow come back and irritate the other person, hurt. You'll get, maybe they will reject you. And that's one of the biggest things is people who reject you and you get that part hurt. And so you don't want to do anything to get rejected. And so each time you create this different version of you, then what that does is it smothers your flame and that dims your light. And so they're mostly trauma-based things. I mean, there's a version of you that, you win something and you probably act like a lunatic all crazy and stuff, like those people that win at the game shows and stuff. You get excited and stuff. That's a different version of you that isn't present every day. And so that's the kind of version when you're not in control of yourself, then these different versions of you just come out, right? You get triggered, you get excited, boom, there you go. You get upset about something. Somebody says something to you in a certain tone of voice, and all of a sudden that version of you comes out. You're in a meeting and you you want to influence another person in a certain way, but then instead of being your authentic self and being you get all nervous and you forget what you're going to say and you don't actually deliver the message that you intended to. And so that is not shining your light. That's the opposite. That's your light dimmed because the scared and nervous version of you came out. And so that's how you dim your light. So the scared version of you comes out. You go to perform somewhere and you get really nervous and you're shaking and sweating while you're delivering a speech or something like that. And when you're doing that, you're not delivering the same quality of message because you're in fear, right? And when you're in fear, you're not your true authentic self. And so you're dimming your light. Yeah, so that's how you dimmed your light in the first place. And so if you want to shine your light, it's about dealing with those traumas that are behind all that stuff. And the very best way of doing that is with hypnosis. And we have the emotional detox as part of what I offer to really help you get rid of a lot of that crap that's built up, over your entire lifetime. And in one session, we can just get rid of everything. You just let it all go. And that allows you to get rid of those buttons. So when people come and they start pushing your buttons, all of a sudden those buttons are disconnected and you don't react anymore. Instead, you get to be the real you and you get to shine your light and the way you were meant to. So if you want to know more about that, go to my website, jeffbroomfield.com. So thanks for tuning in. Stay awesome and have a good one.